Aloha and welcome to the 9th session of the Finance Committee meeting here in the Hilo Council Chambers. It is Wednesday, April 10th, and the time is 9:07. I'd like to ask everyone to turn off your cell phones or mobile communication devices, or put it to the silent mode, please. Thank you. I'd like to now welcome the members of our Finance Committee, and to my far right, we have Councilmember Gregor Alagan, Councilmember Drew Kanuha, Councilmember Onishi, excuse me. He shrunk. No, it was kind of low for a while, so got me confused. Jay Yoshimoto, I'm sorry.
I'm going to be careful.
I gotta look for him if he's under the table. I put my seat higher so that I can look taller than you. Sorry, Fred. And to my far left, Fresh Onishi, Councilmember Onishi, Councilmember Margaret Willey, Councilmember Karen Eoff, and Councilmember Brenda Ford, and I am Councilmember Valerie Poindexter, and welcome. I will now call this meeting to order. So at this time, I'd like to take statements from the public on the agenda items, and I'd like to advise them that they have 3 minutes to speak on each agenda item. And if you are speaking on more than one agenda item, I'd like to ask that you let us know when you are transitioning so that we can reset the time clock. I'd like to start with Ka'u. Good morning. Do we have any testifiers in Ka'u?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Ka'u will not be online for the 3 days of this meeting, and that's been published, so it's okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to Pahoa. Good morning. Do we have any testifiers in Pahoa?
Good morning, Madam Chair. We do have one testifier here in Pahoa.
Okay, moving on to Waimea. Good morning. Do we have any testifiers in Waimea?
Good morning, Chair Poindexter. We do not have any testifiers this morning.
Thank you. Let's see. Going on to Kona. Good morning. Do we have any testifiers in Kona?
Good morning, Madam Chair. No, we do not have any testifiers for you today, so aloha.
Thank you. Do we have any testifiers here in Hilo? I did not receive any papers, so I guess we will, no testifiers here in Hilo. Thank you, Nora. Okay, so we will go to Pahoa. Can you call up your testifier, please?
Yes, ma'am. We have Mr. John Olson here this morning speaking on communications number 150 and Bill 39 in support. He will be representing the Pahoa Regional Town Center Steering Committee.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Yes, my name is John Olson, and I am a member of the Pahoa Regional Town Center Planning Steering Committee. I am here to support the proposed items in the current budget that will fund the planning effort and create the basic infrastructure to facilitate the implementation of the Pahoa Regional Town Center Plan as outlined in the Puna CDP. The core issues that we have in this budget are the roads, mass transit planning and siting, water and the wastewater issues, all which are line items in this budget. We wish to thank the mayor for concurring with our planning effort and including these items in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Being that there's no further public testimony, we move now to referrals. Take this. Mr. Clerk, will you please read Communication 150, Bill 39, and Communication 150.1 into the record?
Communication 150, Bill 39, establishes an operating budget for the County of Hawaii for the fiscal year July 1st, 2013 to June 30th, 2014. From Mayor William P. Kenoi, dated February 28, 2013, transmitting for consideration the proposed operating budget for the County of Hawaii for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2014. This balanced budget includes estimated revenues and appropriations of $370,778,473 and is $32,426,525. And Communication 150.1 from Mayor William P. Kenoi, dated February 28, 2013, transmitting a booklet containing the reports entitled Departmental and Agencies 6-Month Progress Report and on Program Objectives for Fiscal Year 2012-13 and Final Status Report on Program Objectives for Fiscal Year 2011-12.
May I have a motion to approve Bill 39, the proposed operating budget, and file all related communications?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilmember Karen Eoff and seconded by Councilmember Drew Kanuha. Mr. Clerk, will you please read Communication 151, Bill 40, and Communication 151.1 into the record?
Communication 151, Bill 40, relates to the public improvements and financing thereof for the fiscal year July 1st, 2013 to June 30th, 2014, from Mayor William P. Kenoi, dated February 28, 2013, transmitting the proposed capital budget for fiscal year 2013-2014 and the capital program for the next 6 years from fiscal year 2013-2014 to 2018-2019, which includes 83 projects requiring a total appropriation of $235,301,000. Approximately $214,176,000 are intended to be funded in whole or part by bonds, $21,005,000 to be funded from federal grants receivable, $20,000 to be funded by fair share contributions, and $100,000 to be funded by private contributions. And Communication 151.1 from Mayor William P. Kenoi, dated March 11, 2013, informing the Council of clerical errors in the fiscal year 2013-2014 Capital Improvements Program CIP budget.
May I have a motion to approve Bill 40, the proposed capital budget, and file all related communications?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Karen Eoff, seconded by Councilmember Drew Kanuha. So at this time, we're going to go through the departmental budget and program reviews. So at this time, I'd like to call the mayor to give an overview of the operating and capital budgets and programs.
It's my experience. I see how often I come before the county council. It might be my 5th time total in 4 years. To Finance Council Chair Poindexter, Council Chair Jay Yoshimoto, and all of the distinguished members of the Hawaii County Council. It's a privilege and an honor to serve the county, to appear before all of you today, but most of all, to represent this entire administration. To look around this room and see so many dedicated, committed public servants who year in and year out for 4 consecutive years have had to truly make do with less. When we took office, of course, the operating budget at the County of Hawaii previously passed was $403 million. The first budget we submitted was for $387 million. The second budget we submitted was for $375 million. The third budget we submitted was for $367 million. The current operating budget that we submitted again to this distinguished body was for $365 million. That means for 4 consecutive years, in spite of rising fuel costs, utility costs, in spite of rising healthcare and retirement costs, in spite of increased challenges economically, globally, nationally, throughout the state of Hawaii and here at home, in spite of the state constantly, annually, attempting to take away the county's share of the transient accommodation tax or hotel room tax, every one of these department heads have gone forward and provided core critical county government services without reducing programs, without reducing any impact or have any adverse impact on the county, the community, and most importantly, our island residents. Whether it was police or fire, public works, planning, civil defense, transit. Think about transit. That's a department that currently has 55 buses. They provide service on a 4,028 square mile island. That's the size, larger than the states of Rhode Island and Delaware, same size as the state of Connecticut. Every county agency has base yards, Kohala, Ka'u, Hilo, Kona, Waimea, Puna, not transit. One base yard in Hilo. 7 days a week service, 3 mechanics. When a bus breaks down in Kohala, 2 of those 3 mechanics drive out to diagnose, fix, repair, and bring back. Think about that. And yet, every one of you has residents in your district asking for more service, more buses, expanded routes, increased bus shelters, and yet transit every year has delivered time and time again. Unfortunately, we all collectively have to make some difficult decisions going forward, because 3 years ago, the cost of one rider, $5.17. This past year, $5.37. In the next year, we're talking $7 with the rising fuel costs and challenges we meet. So we have to decide collectively, collaboratively, how to address that. We talk about providing more information technology services to our residents, and it makes perfect sense in the 21st century that we live in. People should not have to stand in line to receive a paper from a government office or from a county office. They should be able to deliver those services online. And our great information technology director, Mark O, who will be leaving shortly because of some very difficult family circumstances, and we're honored to have him with us. But he did a diagnosis of our information technology, and he said, for a municipality of this size, we should have a budget in excess of $8 million and 40 employees to provide that critical information technology infrastructure that allows our residents to interact with county government on a daily basis. But instead, we have a $1.6 million budget with 18 employees who do the best they can with what they have. And in spite of those economic challenges that we've seen, we've also reduced the impact on our county residents. When we took office in the most challenging economic environment in the history of the County of Hawaii, homeowner property taxpayers paid $5.55 per thousand in valuation. Today, those same homeowners pay $5.55 per thousand in valuation with declining property values. We collected $225.8 million in property taxes when I took office. Today, in this last budget, $198 million in property taxes collected. In addition, if you added up all the reductions of vacant funded positions or less employees, you might have seen in looking through the history of the County of Hawaii, reduction of no more than 5 county employees. Our first year, we cut 55, all of us. Second year, 70. Third year, 97, for a total of 222. We tried to restrict positions through attrition, through retirement, or when employees were terminated or left their positions. So every one of these department heads have continued to meet your requests and a growing demand for increased programs and services with less employees, less property taxes, and less of a budget. But here we are in 2013, in year 5, and we'll continue to make sacrifices. In year 1, myself and our executive team took the first countywide furloughs because we knew going forward it was going to be tough. and all of our employees made difficult decisions. We made sacrifices, but those furloughs will come to an end. That's an increase of $4.2 million in the budget this very year. I know the Salary Commission did a lot of good work, good citizen volunteers, and they made some recommendations. And we submitted testimony, as did my Director of Finance, opposing any increase for myself or my department heads, though we have no control over that. If those raises go through, I will take my entire raise, propose $22,000, and donate it to the Hawaii Island United Way. I don't do this job, and neither do these public servants, for money. If we wanted to make money, we'd go out and do something else. We're well paid, we work hard, but we're committed because we love this island. We love the community. Not just born and raised here, not just live here, not just raise our kids here. I look forward to, this is the home, this is my last home. I'm gonna die on this island. So I just want to take that off the table and not let that be a distraction in a budget going forward. I will not accept that raise. Our Hawaii Island United Way efforts, spearheaded by within the county by our Director of Public Works, Warren Lee, we came up short last year in our drive. Our goal was $1.2 million to raise for United Way, provide services to over 48 agencies on island. And we came up 300,000 short. We did the Mayor's Cup. I asked all of my department heads to contribute every paycheck. So whatever support we can provide to them. But going forward, we know Ka'u, whether I go to Ocean View, whether I go to Pahala, whether I go to Nalehu, they ask for more police coverage. And people think it's just hiring one more police officer. No, it's not. There's 3 shifts a day. You've got to cover. You've got to hire multiple police officers to increase by 1 position coverage in a district. We know in Puna, an area the size geographically as a state of, the island of Oahu. They think they're the state of Oahu. The island of Oahu. But you think about that. The fastest growing area in the entire state of Hawaii is in Puna. We have to provide more coverage, but I cannot ask Chief Kobajiri and Deputy Chief Ferreira to continue to do more with less. They have done more with less. Just dramatically reduced their overtime, and the record speaks for itself. Everybody wants to pick up the phone and dial 911 and have immediate service. And we know healthcare is a challenge across the nation. Everybody wrestles with the complexities and challenges of providing efficient, cost-effective, affordable, and accessible healthcare. But what do people do on our island who don't have insurance or don't have transportation to healthcare? Very simple. You dial 911. Because through those doors, in a matter of minutes, will come some of the best trained, most qualified people in the entire country. In the entire country. We had our paramedic from Hawaii County a couple years ago recognized as the #1 paramedic in the nation. I won an award for that. But that's what people do, and nothing wrong with that. But that costs money too. We all know we want apparatuses. We shouldn't have, questions of maintenance or repair of first responder vehicles, but we do. Why? Because they accepted the challenge and said, with less money, with less of a budget, we'll do more. And they've continued to do that, but can we continue to maintain that? Those are the questions that we have to work together on, and we look forward to doing that. But there's a lot of positives going forward. In spite of the challenges we all collectively face, the University of Hawaii Economic Research Organization, or UHERO, and Carl Bonham projects 3% employment growth, job growth on Hawaii Island for the coming year. And after his most recent visit, he actually said, I think that's a conservative number. We see hospitality. Arrivals in the county of Hawaii are up 7.7% year over last, which was up the year before. We see visitor spending up 13.7% year over year this year on Hawaii Island. Occupancy on Hawaii Island, 8%. And that's only one sector, the hospitality industry, but that's direct capital infusion into the county is a multiplier effect. You look at air capacity. Research and development, County of Hawaii, their focus the last 4 years wasn't on branding or marketing, it was air capacity. That all of our effort would be increasing flights to Hawaii Island. And why? Because when we increase air capacity, we increase seats to Hawaii Island, we increase hotel occupancy, jobs at our hotels, our largest employers on island, more in the restaurants, rent for Naniloa and estate leases on Banyan Drive. Drive, which are economically holding East Hawaii hostage. It's unacceptable. We will lose that direct flight, and we will not get that back again. So we're very aggressively advocating, and I asked the council to join us in advocating for improved oversight and property management of Banyan Drive. If you look at the county's end, Liliuokalani Park, Coconut Island, Reeds Bay, New Bathroom, the county is well maintained. It's beautiful, actually. Magnificent. Parks and Recreation. Every one of your districts has a gym, park, or pool that is heavily used. Every one of your districts, meaning every one of our island community, needs more services for our youth to keep them away from drugs, gangs, and violence. They need more support for our elderly activities division because our kupunas should not go without or any diminish or reduction in their service. They've given too much to too many for too long for all of us as leaders not to be able to step up to the plate. We hear about sequestration and a 2.4% automatic federal across-the-board cuts in Washington, D.C. We still have a potential second fiscal cliff coming up in May. Unless compromise is reached in Washington, D.C., we'll see an incredible impact in the economy. When we talk about Cyprus and an island nation in the Mediterranean threatening the financial stability of the European Union and bringing down 4 of the most fragile economies in Europe, Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal. And if that happens, then we're talking about global recession. You know, so, but when we talk about Senator Kenoi, and I have to make this point, I feel offended to hear repeatedly in this last month or two about Senator Kenoi like he's a financial institution. Senator Daniel K. Kenoi loved Hawaii. He visited our administration this past fall and asked us, what do we need? And when I said we needed another $100 million, he said, okay, Billy. He didn't say no. He didn't say, I don't check. When we went through the toughest economic crisis on this island, in the American Recovery Reinvestment Act, or ARA, $115 million came to the county of Hawaii. $115 million. The Anekeaho Kaloli Highway was budgeted at $35 million. Hamakua Bridge and Road Repair, another $11. $46 million. The total appropriation for roads in the state of Hawaii was $125 million. We got 46. The 38% of the state's money came to Hawaii Island. Senator Kenoi wasn't about money and what we could get from him. Senator Kenoi was about love. He was about sacrifice. He was about leadership. And he taught us lessons. And what was those lessons? Senator Kenoi taught us finger pointing, excuses, and blame has never, in the history of leadership and government in civilized nations, ever moved a government, country, community forward. Ever. It's never happened. I challenge anyone to find one example. He always talked about respect, and he always talked about the price of leadership. We know you have to work harder. We know you got to wake up earlier, stay up later, travel to more places, make sacrifices with your family, you know, sacrifice personal times, maybe financial sacrifices. But he said, in difficult times, it's when you determine, it's when you find your capacity to lead. And during these challenging times, he always talked about people working together. His senator was never about political ideology or political philosophy or drawing lines in the sand. He was always about finding solutions. And it's okay to agree, it's okay to disagree, it's okay to agree to disagree. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't work together. In fact, we have to work together. Your district is my district. My department heads are your department heads. Our administration is the people's administration. Taxpayers of the County of Hawaii are counting on us. I've asked my department heads, when you walk up here, please share with every one of our council people the challenges you face. You know, and if there's any way you can find something else, we'd appreciate it. We're not going to defend. We're not going to argue. We'll accept suggestions, recommendations, ideas. We have to. Some of the best ideas I get are at the soccer field, surfing in the ocean. Guys paddle up to me, hey, Mr. Mayor, why not do this? I'm like, that's brilliant. Never thought about that. Somebody said, hey, driver's licensing, Mr. Mayor, why not make concierge outside, you know, with water and cookies, and check people with their documents so they not find out 2 hours waiting in line that they don't have the right documents. What if they found out outside 2 hours earlier? Maybe they'd be less upset. You know, in our driver's licensing, I sat down with our leadership team in Kona yesterday. It's unacceptable. I know Homeland Security imposed a myriad of complex, indecipherable regulations on us. I know the state cut their state ID office and just pushed it on the county. They raised the driver's licensing fee, registration fee, and everybody think it's us because they paid a bill at the county office. I hear the kupunas at the softball field that Mayor Kenoi raised the registration. And it wasn't us, no, it was the state. You know, they raised it, but we collect it. We've never raised it. We haven't raised driver's licensing fees in how long then? Several years. But I said, you know, you guys, I don't like here we working on them. And this is my team, my most trusted guys. I don't like here. I heard that already. I heard no more money. I heard no more people. I said, you know what? All you guys gonna work in a driver's license. Wally Lau, Bobby Command, Barbara, our whole office. Housing office going down work over there. I don't know what the solution, but we cannot say no can. That's how we've never defined ourselves that way. We've always said can. And our job has been to collectively sit around and figure out how can. And in that vein, these balanced budgets that I talk about is the result of months and months of hard work by our finance team. I'm so honored and privileged. And my finance director, our finance director, is Nancy Crawford. You cannot find a more intelligent, hardworking, kind public servant. Drive by this building any weekend. Her car will be here early in the morning, and it'll be here late at night. Deanna Sacco, Deputy Director of Finance, is as sharp as they come. We've had Gary Tom, who recently retired, and I cried for days because it followed the recent retirement of Gary Takamuro. And those guys are geniuses. They know every nickel, every dime, every dollar. And to work with competent professionals who don't provide numbers with narratives. They just give you the facts. And that's to policymakers to make the subsequent decisions. But they've always been open and accessible to every one of you. And will continue to be. You guys need anything, call them. They'll say yes. Nancy Kelly, I want to welcome her on board from the prosecutor's office. She's saw this budget, it was like, wow. You know, because you work in one department, it's challenging. But when you see all 18, and you have to work across the board, and it's nice to say, hey, let's fund this. But where's that money coming from? Yes, we all want, everybody, we're politicians, right? We want to go in a community and people say, thank you for that new bus, new gym, new park. Thank you for new police. Thank you for new fire. You guys are great. I'm so happy I voted for you. We all want people to say yes. But the price of leadership is we got to learn to say no. And that's the challenge. But going forward, we know what we have to do. We know we've got to be creative and innovative to find revenue. And we know we've got to ask tough questions. And I've told my department heads, tell you guys everything. And I ask one last thing. When we talk about transit, it's one thing to talk about 3 people servicing an entire island mass transit fleet that operates 7 days. But please, go down to the transit base yard. You'll see things and you'll wonder to yourself, how do they make this work? If any of those quit, those 3 incredible people, I talk to them all the time. If any of them was to quit, our transit system would go down. That's how fragile their commitment is. Our system is. So let's expand that. Let's grow that. Let's strengthen that. And every one of these departments. I thank you guys for your time. I thank you for working together, making tough decisions together. We all have an important responsibility to serve our community, protect critical services, protect the quality of life of our working families, create a healthy, safe community that has a thriving, vibrant economy. Because we know when people are working, our families are strong. When our families are strong, our children are safe. And at the end of the day, that's how we'll measure our time in office. our service and our leadership. We remain open to questions, and thank you all of you for giving me this opportunity to provide an overview of our budget going forward. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mayor Kenoi.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call up our Department of Finance.
Oh, are we allowed to ask the mayor questions?
You can? Sure.
I guess, yeah. Just that it doesn't get into more of a discussion thing on the...
Madam
Go
Chair,
ahead.
I'll
You're
be
open.
gladly
Okay.
and open to accept
Okay.
any questions
Okay.
from anybody
You can
on
handle
anything.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Margaret, since you asked, do you have a question?
Sure.
Councilmember Willie?
Okay. Overall, I agree with your approach in the budget. At the same time, I think that we are continuing to look at how we can tighten our belt and fund a 9-slice pizza in a way that we can get through. But at the same time, I see that we're pushing off some big ticket items, whether it's Gatsby or let's just take wastewater. Maybe 30 million would get us clear of worrying about EPA fines and leaks and everything, ADA. So I really want to ask you that we work sort of more out of the box, looking at ways we can bring in additional revenue streams. And, I threw one out, okay, what about high stakes bingo, or what else do you suggest? But I think that as we're trying to make do can only go on to a certain point, and that we tackle and have a plan. If we're not going to do it this time, looking forward, where are we going to get those some big chunks that hopefully hospitality, those 8% will keep coming in, or that we do the real property tax, or we add a little fees here and there. But I just see that this is okay, but really we have to have a plan a little bit more long range that's going to bring in some big chunks. So I don't know if you have a comment on that.
No, I completely agree with you, Councilwoman Willie, that we cannot keep cutting. There's nowhere else to cut.
Right.
Because if there were, we would have found it. When people talk about going through the budget line by line, we welcome that, and we have for 4 years. It's probably the most scrutinized budgets that we've submitted. The first one passed 8-1, the last one passed 8-1 this past year. And that's because there's nowhere else to go.
Right.
The next step is people writing to you, calling in because services have been curtailed. They have to be. The current budget that we're looking at, the March submittal, is not a budget that we can sustain going forward without dramatic reduction in cuts in services.
Right.
And we've got to remember, Councilwoman, that our toolbox of revenue is very limited. The state has unlimited taxing authority. In fact, for them not to take, and you worked on this prior to joining the council, on a TAT at the legislature, and they capped us, all of the counties. We're capped at $17.4 million. So this past record tourism year for the entire state, no benefits in TAT accrued to the county of Hawaii because we were capped. And that's the second largest source of revenue to us. We have property taxes. I mean, we have fuel tax that we pay, we collect 8.8 cents a gallon. Maui, Oahu, they're at 18 cents a gallon. Our driver's license hasn't gone up. So when we talk revenue going forward, and we know that we've got to make that decision, our next May submittal will be based on your conversations with the department heads and our conversations with the department heads. And it's not about the nice to haves. We're talking just about the need to haves.
Right.
And so certainly there's got to be some adjustments in revenue. And well, it's a two-side story, right? I mean, it's a two sides of the same coin. One is, as we create a thriving, vibrant economy, we improve the real property tax base and valuations, which decreases revenue. On the other hand, not having raised revenue, over these many years, you reach a point where with the decrease in valuations, we could certainly come up and raise some revenue that would still have us less than where we were. Right. For example, if we came in at $403 million in 2008, if we collected $225.8 million in property taxes in 2008, we had 198. If we adjust, I just throw it out there, if we adjust, and today in 2013, going forward to our 2014 budget, and our budget is still less than where we were in 2008, including increased fuel, utilities tax, I think that's something people could understand and live with. And that additional revenue would certainly go towards improving our delivery of services and programs. So those are alternatives. But other revenue, like the resolution on bingo, we couldn't do it. It'd be a state thing. Right?
We have to have them allow us to do that.
We have to work within the tools that we have, right. And it's very limited. And the real property tax, a task force that they're looking at, how do we maybe close some loopholes without imposing a further burden, but that generating revenue. But those proposals won't come in to help us by the July 1st budget.
So I think we sort of, as I see it, have two budgets. How do we get by these next couple of years? And then how do we really clearly make a upgrade in the level of funding, or as I see it. And let me just say, like the TAT, which is something I've worked on a lot, and I'm watching the two House and Senate bills. I would like us to almost mobilize Aspen Island as they're reducing from 44% to 34%, cutting, and just really together we can, like this is not allowed. How do we collaborate on a higher level? And at the same time, that we, and all of these state, as you probably know about Bill 727 and 1027, all of these gutting the county, I want more outrage combined together. We can outrage.
Well, I'll assure you, Councilwoman, that as the chair of the Hawaii Council of Mayors this year, that I've met with the governor, I've met with House Finance, I've met with the Senate leadership. We're not sitting on our hands.
Okay.
There's some very passionate, lively advocacy going on, but our style, I believe, advocacy is face-to-face, not through the media or on television or in the newspaper.
I think it takes all.
You think I'm sitting back, Councilwoman Willie, and letting these things happen? Okay, just curious. We're fighting for this island. Everybody is.
Okay. I'll leave you to...
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd just like to remind us here that basically the question and answer is we're here to gather all that information on the needs of the departments as well, so not to try to impose our philosophies or anything back and forth.
Good.
I'm not meaning to put you in a situation. I just don't want us to put them in that situation. So I want to remind us that we're here to gather information so we can prepare. So thank you. Councilmember Elegant.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Councilman.
It's always a pleasure to hear your thoughts, and I'm so glad that, for one thing, the community leaders that you have is wonderful, because I've gotten a chance to work with several of your department heads, and I'm glad that you mentioned mass transit, because like you said, 4,028 square miles. There's like 7 full-time employees just in mass transit. It's amazing how much service they provide. Yep. But I do want to share a story about Tiffany Kai, and I feel like you should really know. I was going to...
I'm sure she's holding her breath right now as you speak.
She sure is. We were going to PGV for me and Kristen because of the abated steam. And on the way there was vandalism on the bus shelters. So Kristen went out and took some pictures, and we wanted to show it to Tiffany Kai. So the next day, I went over to her office. I showed them the pictures. And 3 days after, I was coming out of Pohoa, and I was driving past, and I see Tiffany with paper napkins and a Windex, and along with a guy with a neon shirt next to her, cleaning out the vandalism. So I pulled over, And I went over and talked to Tiffany. And
what you mean talk? You never grab a paper and start wiping through? No, hey,
I'm not done yet.
Yeah, no, I just
hold
kidding.
On,
You're good. You're good.
I'm building this up. Just wait. Hold on. So I was talking to her. I was like, "Oh, could I help?" There you go. This is the part that you like. And she was so humble and where, oh, you don't need to help, but I insist. So I grabbed a Windex and I started talking to the guy with the neon shirt. That's her husband. And the husband is cleaning with a Mint rewards card. Like, okay, I need a scraper, right? I travel light. I only have a driver's license and my credit card on my phone. So I went to my car looking for something to scrape it with. Nothing there. So last thing I had was I had to go through my little book and I had to use the county badge to scrape off the vandalism. But I just want to show you the dedication that this woman has. And it's amazing. And I just wanted to share that because you got great leaders in your department. And I'm also talking to Dora, and I'm trying to get because you have trash bins coming in empty in Pahoa. And like you said, using the tools that we have here, I was thinking, how about we fill it up with mulch? So on the way to the dump, it's filled up with mulch and we dump it off at the Maku Farmers Market. And then they can pick up the trash and haul it up. So it's like not using any other trucks. So I was trying to talk to her, and she's willing to help me out and kind of get it together, fix out the bugs, tweak it. But I'm just so glad that you got a staff that's willing to help the community. And one last person is, of course, our Director of Finance and also the Deputy. Amazing people. So I just want to say thank you for all the things that you have done, and I'm excited to hear what everybody has to say.
Thank you very much, Councilman. And again, I feel the same way that you feel. Very humbled and challenged. But, you know, Tiffany, every time I get a request from a council person, or we need this, I'll call Tiff, or the seniors will want a van because, you know, in Kohala, they want to go shopping in Kona, or there's a group of kids in Puna that want to paddle canoe, but there's no transportation. Or there's an opportunity for a Papuana football team to take 45 kids off the street every day and put them in an engaged activity that's organized and positive. Call Tiff, and she always says, okay. And I have no idea how it's, and I'm afraid of asking because I'm afraid it's something like that. But thank you, Tiffany. And that's indicative of all of these people behind me. Thank you, Councilman. That was very kind.
Thank you. Council members, Kern?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Mr. Councilman.
I apologize for my tardiness.
I didn't even notice.
I did. Only guy not here. I just wanted to, the last 4 years have been very challenging. We've seen that. Looking through it, you guys have come together and really sharpened the pencils. Looking at it, when I first heard about the budget, it seemed, oh, we got a little more money. Getting into it, we don't. It has the appearance that it's there, but we don't. And like you say, we're cutting services. Met with Tiffany the other day, and she's telling me it's going to be costing $7 per person. Serious issues. So what we do need to do is obviously work together creatively, collaboratively. It's not, there's anything that doesn't occur, any service that we're not able to provide isn't because there isn't the want and the will. Every department that I meet with and talk to, yes, we want to do this. How can we do this? Whether, you know, parks, mass transit, finance, public works, R&D, it's always that way. So I really appreciate all the work that you guys do coming together on this. I know it's days and nights of bringing this together. I would look forward to going through this, hearing what everybody needs. There's so much appreciation for the administration and their responsiveness and wanting to make it happen. We just got to figure out how can we make it all happen. And it's not going to be easy moving forward. We obviously know there's going to be some really heavy lifting coming up here on the next cycle, and there's things that we need to do and adjust. And I'm here for that, and I just appreciate everybody out here working for us. All the service, the responsiveness, the openness, the kindness, the aloha. It's been really, really great. So I appreciate all the work you guys do.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Councilmember Ford?
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Councilwoman.
I have some questions, and I
Sure.
have a suggestion and a commendation for a specific person. So let me start with the commendation. You're very aware of the lines out of the motor vehicle registration section over in Kona. And I've been stewing about a particular issue that I thought was a safety issue, and that is that area under the stairwell with all the lava rocks, because the lines are right there, and I'm watching people teeter into them or maybe step into them. So I went, fine, I just couldn't handle it anymore. I just knew we're going to have a problem. So I go up to Wally Lau's office, and he wasn't there that morning, and I left a message, and I said, Wally, that lava's got to go, and that needs to be concreted, in, and make sure nobody gets hurt. You know how slow construction projects are in the county. 10 days later, it's done. And we have a slab of concrete there that people are actually standing on and they won't get hurt. I thought it was a wonderful thing that he took the initiative to get that done so quickly to prevent an accident happening with all of those people, because there's 50 to 100 people sometimes out there at one time. And so I wanted you to know that I really appreciated that, because the overflow from motor vehicles comes and complains into the council building. And so I just thought it was really a wonderful thing. I've never seen anything go so fast as far as construction. So thank you very much, Mr. Lau. You did a great job on that one. The other thing, the other thing is regarding the TAT. I don't need to tell anyone. We all know it's their second biggest revenue source, but I do have a suggestion. I think since you're the chair of the Mayor's Council, that you need to get with the other mayors and all 4 of the police chiefs and take them with you to talk to the state legislature, because I think they need to make a real presence in front of the state legislature. We need the money. We need the money for all departments, but we really need the money for police, public safety issues. That's really, I think, some of the places where we really need to invest some money. And I think the chiefs of the police department and the chiefs of the fire department might need to go with you. And that's just a suggestion. It's up to you, of course. Fine. But for me, when I look at public safety, to me, it's our #1 governmental issue. Okay. And I think taking the chiefs with you, with the other mayors and their chiefs, might lend, not that you're not sufficient, it's not that.
No, I agree. It's
that
very
we
persuasive.
It's persuasive to see 4 chiefs of the fire departments and 4 chiefs of the police department standing behind you saying, we got to do something because things are not going so well over wherever. So that's one suggestion.
I'll meet with the mayors on Friday. I'll bring that up.
Okay, thank you. And whether you do it or not, it's up to you, up to all the mayors. I do have a few questions. I know that furloughs are ending at the end of this fiscal year. I'm really quite concerned about that.
Yes.
We've gone from 2 to 1, and frankly, I know there's people in the county that need the money. In the county employee base that need the money. I understand that.
Right.
But I would like to see us at least ask you to respectfully negotiate again with the unions and ask for at least one furlough day a month minimum, maybe 2, because that you had used the number of 3.5 or 4?
4.2 million
per furlough day.
Yes, collectively.
Collectively.
Well, HGA, UPW, in its entirety, 1 furlough day. Equivalent to almost 5%, and a reduction is 4.2 million.
I would respectfully ask that you negotiate that again. I've said publicly that there are some very strategic places where we need to invest to increase the efficiency of the employees we have. I am absolutely opposed to laying off employees. As we have a fully trained force. We need to keep them on board because times are starting to get better, but we're not there yet. So that would be my one request, is at least 1 furlough day, and that will give us a little bit of a cushion to expend some money strategically in some areas that I'm going to be proposing. So that's one issue. I would like to see us put something in Gaspee. I'm so desperate at this point. I know about the $60 million. I'm not even worried about that. I don't care if we put $1 million a year. Just something to keep that snowball slowly growing so we don't get too far into debt. So Oh, I heard the timer on me again. Oh, I'm going to yield.
You have 10 seconds.
My 10 seconds. Thank you, Mayor. Last 10 seconds.
Sure.
I desperately need your help for the Air National Guard. That will save us mega millions of dollars in construction. And as far as I know, not one application has been sent in as a draft, because they need to go in as a draft. I need your horsepower. I need Wally Lau's horsepower to get your department heads to do this.
Wally Lau looks forward to working with you.
Oh, thank you.
Coordinating this project.
Wally Lau has been working with me.
That's what I said, right?
Yes,
you're official liaison to the administration.
Okay, thank you. I know he's just thrilled to hear that, but I think the two of you need to maybe have a little chat with your department heads where there's construction projects, because we can save millions. It doesn't guarantee us, but if we don't send in the applications, we don't have a chance of getting this free federal assistance. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Very welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions before we move to our next department? Well, thank you, Mayor Kenoi.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Mahalo, everybody, and good luck, and look forward to working with all of you the next couple of months. Aloha.
Aloha. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take a short 5-minute recess. I think they need to set up for their presentation for the Department of Finance. Thank you. You know why? I thought we were going to do questions.